Episode 11 of the Bee Critics. Incredible. Here we are. 11 episodes in. 11 listeners in. Rocking it.
I don't think we have that many.
We totally have that many.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we have 11 listeners, and they're all the best. And when we get super famous and people look back at this episode and they say, wow, 11 listeners, what losers? We'll be like, yeah, humble beginnings, yo.
We won't be doing this that long.
Why is that? Are you saying you want to give up? Are you saying you're a giver-upper?
No, I'm saying we're never going to reach that status.
Don't be so negative.
You're always the negative one, okay? So I can be negative sometimes, too.
We are going to be living a lush life in a big old mansion with that podcast money.
If we ever get to live in a mansion, it's not going to be because of this podcast.
It absolutely will.
It won't.
The Bee Critics, live from Beverly Hills.
I can't do live shows.
Well, you're going to have to. Because I just booked us one on... I don't know any of the late night talk show hosts nowadays. Help me.
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon! That's not true, everybody.
I don't think that's ever happened.
We're not going to be on Jimmy Fallon. A live podcast? Yeah, probably not, because they got to devote all of their minutes of the show to all the special guests. It's like, oh, hold on. We have to ask Jennifer Lawrence what her favorite brand of cereal bar is first.
On Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah. They all ask the same thing.
You've never even watched, neither have I. But...
All late night shows are the exact same thing, though.
Okay.
Musical guest, special celebrity guest, silly little skit, done.
Yeah, we're never going to be on that.
Yeah, we will be.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon, if you're listening, we got your back. We are your next big celebrity guest stars. Or, hold on. Maybe we should get this a little bit better here. Ellen, if you're listening and you need to make someone famous, that's us. We are your people here. Ellen DeGeneres, you heard it here. We're your biggest fans starting right now.
You're going to insult her by pronouncing her name like that.
How is it pronounced?
Are you serious?
I don't know how it's pronounced.
You're totally botching this. It's DeGeneres.
DeGeneres?
Have you never heard anyone say Ellen DeGeneres?
I'm sure I have, but it doesn't stick with me clearly.
DeGeneres?
DeGeneres. It's French.
Oh my gosh. See? We could never go on something live because you'd say something like that.
And it would go viral and we'd be more popular.
Just pronounce one of the most highly paid persons of the year name wrong.
Excuse me, I can pronounce Dwayne Johnson correctly.
Ellen makes more money than Dwayne Johnson.
What?
Absolutely.
Why?
Are you kidding me?
No, I know why. I'm kidding.
Okay, that was a long time now.
Yeah, that's why people listen. People don't even care about the movies. They just want to listen to people, just say words to each other. So
if that were the case, we'd have more listeners.
This will be the first movieless episode of the Bee Critics. No, we got to talk about something. We can't just argue about whether or not we'll ever be on Jimmy Fallon or not, which we will.
Won't.
Will. I'm sending this tape to him right now.
The only way we'll be on Jimmy Fallon is if one of us is an actor or a musician.
Hey.
It's not going to be from this podcast.
I am both. I act like I'm a musician.
You could be both if you tried.
Thank you. That means a lot. Warms my heart. Makes me feel like a big boy.
You should put your effort into one of those instead of this.
You have no faith whatsoever in your own product. If you hold Bee Critics stocks, sell now. They're about to drop. Anyway, before we get a little more grim and dark like that, just a total downer, let's talk about a movie that's grim and dark and a total downer. It's Hold the Dark on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
So this movie has actually gotten a fair bit of buzz about it. being that the director's previous efforts, Blue Ruin and Green Room, were both considered extremely good movies, which people really liked a lot, and I'll have to see them sometime because of the positive press that they've gotten. Unfortunately, Third Time is not the charm, and this movie is not exceptional. This movie is what happens when you take all of the ingredients to make the perfect pie, and then you burn the pie. You've fucked it up. It's no longer good. Throw it out. We can't eat this.
You probably should have said undercooked the pie. It's more common than burning it.
Well,
soggy crust.
Soggy crust?
Yeah.
This movie
underbake
is the soggy crust of Netflix. with a blood sausage filling.
What?
Blood sausage. You ever had it?
No, but I know what it is. But I'm saying what to you saying that that's the filling.
Because this movie is a bloody, visceral thrill ride, except for the times that it isn't, which is like
all
3/4
the time
of the movie. So the movie is about someone whose kid gets taken by wolves, except not really. I'm not going to tell you what really happens because, it's a super unpredictable plot twist.
You already had a spoiler.
What?
That spoils it, that the kid didn't get taken by wolves.
We learned that, 20 minutes into this 2-hour-long movie, though.
No, it's not 20 minutes in.
So, kid is not there for unforeseen reasons. I don't know how we're going to talk about this movie properly otherwise without saying what actually happens to the kid, being that that's the rest of, the hour and a half of the plot.
Okay, fine, go ahead. The mom's a psycho bitch.
The mom... Yeah. The mother kills her son and stores him in the basement. So, what do you do when you kill your son? Call the author of a guy who wrote a book about hunting wolves and get him to track down the wolves that didn't take your son. That's what you do. That's the logical next step.
Sorry, I have nothing.
It's kind of a really meandering movie. So the next step is the woman's husband is discharged from war because...
Alexander Skarsgård? Eric from True Blood?
Yes.
Eric's the best.
He comes back from the war because he gets shot in the throat and lives, so medically discharged, comes back home, learns his kid is dead and that his wife killed the kid, and then the rest of the movie is all about him tracking down his wife to get revenge.
And killing everyone on the way.
He kills every single character in this movie.
For a reason we're never given.
Yeah, So, this movie is an adaptation from a book, which is funny because the book is kind of short, and this movie is incredibly long. And from what I have heard, there is at least one, possibly two, fairly significant plot reveals that the movie just bothers to never do.
Did you find out what they are?
No, I didn't. I just heard people talking about plot reveals, but they didn't say what they were, probably so they wouldn't spoil the book, as if I'm reading this book. And apparently, they make a huge difference in the ending. And even with those, it's still supposed to be one of those movies that really makes you think and makes you consider what's happening, and, there's
a very right way and a very wrong way to do a movie that way.
Yeah.
The right way would be something like 2001.
And Memento.
Yes. Love that movie. And this is the wrong way because they never tell you what's happening and you don't care enough to even think about it. You're just like, well, what the fuck was that?
Right. Most of the movie is just long, drawn-out exposition with characters talking to each other like this. And this is the only tone that any characters in the whole movie ever really use. It's just a very low-spoken, look at how intense we are in this scene. This is how we talk because this is Alaska. And, that's every scene of dialogue. It's just intentionally vague, clouded imagery given to us through the characters' mouth holes. And It is
with what the fuck sprinkled in everywhere.
Yeah. Like, gosh, it's so intentionally difficult to follow to the point where it's not fun to watch. Like, you can make a movie difficult to follow and it's still gripping and enticing and you want to see it through to the end. And this movie, I sat there and I was kind of dinking around on my phone, and, you know, there are people who are like, oh, you should give the art your full attention. Excuse me? It is the art's job to grip me. It is not my job to be gripped by the art. It is not necessary for me to give something my full attention if it is making no effort to get said attention. That's kind of how I felt about this movie the whole time. It just doesn't really make a huge effort into making you want to watch it. Now, there was one really spectacular scene, this great police shootout scene, which didn't really make a ton of sense because it was 1 versus like 20.
But he was a badass Native American motherfucker.
Yeah, Native American dude with an LMG mounted in his attic, just mowing down the cops. And that was a really intense scene. It was a lengthy scene, and the blood spats everywhere, the people getting shell-shocked there, you wondering how's this going to end, who's going to stop it.
If the whole movie could have been as good as that scene, then it would have been a great movie.
Mm-hmm. And that leads me back to the initial thing that I even said about this movie. It's everything you need to make a good movie, just mishandled. All the ingredients are there. They just, unfortunately, made lutefisk out of it instead.
Ew.
Yeah. No, lutefisk is the least appealing food I can possibly think of.
Just because we're from Minnesota doesn't mean you have to bring up lutefisk.
Well, I did, because, again, it's the least appealing food I can think of.
Nobody even eats that.
Except old people. Old Scandinavians who have lost their taste buds years ago.
Yeah, like I said, nobody even eats that.
Are you saying old people aren't people? That's really rude.
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm really, chill tonight.
I can tell. And by chill, you mean in a pit of despair of which there is no recovery.
It's because I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. Our podcast's never going to go anywhere because I haven't had a chicken nugget in 3 days.
Wait, have I? I think I have. I had chicken tenders yesterday.
Oh, so you should be perfectly fine.
Nope, need it every day.
Need those tendies on the daily. So. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stylistically, this movie brings you back to pretty much every other movie set in Alaska or in a snowy environment in America, such as The Revenant. But the snow is never quite as menacing as it is in The Revenant.
It was pretty, though, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty.
It was a very pretty movie. It was a beautiful movie to look at. But if you're just looking for what looks good, buy yourself a picture.
Excuse me?
What?
Alexander is a god.
Alexander is a god, huh?
Yeah.
Well, he's no Bill Skarsgård.
He's his brother.
I figured, because there aren't that many Skarsgårds out there.
He's his brother, and their dad is Stellan Skarsgård.
Wow, the whole Skarsgård family.
Mm-hmm.
Not in one movie. Hi, kitty. Sniffing the microphone. Being a cute little cat.
Anyway, yeah, they like their, dark, creepy roles, all of them.
Yeah. They do. Although Bill has impressed me the most, simply because he was able to pull off Pennywise.
You haven't seen True Blood.
True Blood, I doubt, has anything that will be that impressive, to be honest. I mean, it's basically Dawson's Creek with vampires. I'm kidding, by the way.
You've seen Dawson's Creek?
Yeah, but it was a funny reference to pull out.
No, not really. Do you even know anything about that show?
I know that James Van Der Beek is in it.
That's it.
And I know that it's a teen drama. And I know that...
Stop talking about things like you know them!
Listen up. And I know that Moody's Point from The Amanda Show was a parody of Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, and I've seen Moody's Point, so I know what Dawson's Creek is.
Stop trying to explain your way into knowing what Dawson's Creek is.
I do know what Dawson's Creek is. It is a creek named after Dawson.
Am I supposed to laugh at that?
Yes, you're supposed to laugh just like everybody listening is.
That wasn't funny.
Why you gotta be so mean to me?
It's okay, Taylor Swift.
This is why we can't have nice.
No,
things.
that's the wrong song.
What?
Are you kidding?
What's the first song that
You
came to mind?
literally said, "Why you gotta be so mean to me?" That's the song you said.
There's a song where she says, "Why do you gotta be so mean to me?"
Yes.
Which one?
It's called Mean.
Oh, mean. I never really listened to Speak Now that much. So it didn't come to mind immediately. I apologize.
That was missed.
This entire episode is a miss. Shut it down now. There's nothing better from this point on. Just hit
No, we
stop.
have 2 other movies to talk about.
Oh, yeah. You're right, but we gotta finish talking about Hold the Dark first.
Yeah, are we done now?
No, not even close. We still gotta talk about how not great it was. We haven't said that yet, right?
We did.
Oh, shit, you're right. We did say that. How I really want to see the other 2 movies that he did because they're apparently good, and this one is not. What? It's almost like Netflix has this magical aura that causes all things that could be good to just not be good. You slap the Netflix name on the front, and suddenly it's like, ta-da, it's shit. How does that happen? You get all of these great on-paper ideas, and then, well, I guess we'll give it to Netflix. Like, if Netflix did wind up distributing Crazy Rich Asians, would it just, like, magically become a terrible movie?
See, it shows they try to get good movies, but they can't. But for some reason, they can get great shows.
Well, I mean, kind of. They do have some great shows. But they
I didn't
have
say they all were.
I was going to say, they have a lot of really trash shows, too.
No, but they have a lot of good shows. And where are the good movies? I don't know that many of their movies.
Because it's easier to produce shows.
That makes no sense.
So, no.
It'd be harder to.
No, you see, it makes sense because the sheer volume of shows that they can pump out conquers the volume of movies they can pump out. So they have a bigger chance of getting a hit than a miss.
But why? Shows are longer and stuff.
Yeah, but they're lower budget. You don't have to pay people as much as in movies.
That doesn't make any sense. A movie could be like 1 episode of a show.
Well, tell the Hollywood people that. I can guarantee you that Robert Downey Jr. gets paid more to be Iron Man than Tim Allen does to do whatever he does with his new show.
You can't pick that, okay? Those are like the highest paid actors right now. Everyone in the Avengers. So you're gonna pick the Avengers?
Yeah, compared to Tim Allen, TV legend.
I'm talking about this unknown actor in this Netflix movie, or this unknown actor in this Netflix show. That's what I'm talking about. And I bet Tim Allen gets paid a lot of money.
Probably not as much as RDJ.
Well, duh.
Okay, fine.
You could have said Tim Allen in this, and then some no-name actor in a big, huge budget movie. You could have used that as an example.
Well, what is your example then?
I already said.
You didn't give names.
I don't have any. You're the one who started with the examples.
You're getting so angry. There's no reason to be so mad.
Yes, there is when you're me. There's always a reason to be mad.
That's right. You're just a fuming ball of rage every day.
Yes.
You wake up, punch me in the face, and then you go to work.
Yeah. I'm like that little dumpling in that short.
Yeah.
When he's about, like, 12.
He's like,
Yeah, that's me.
little jerk dumpling. So that's what we think about Hold the Dark. Boom. Great discussion.
You say boom in every episode.
Boom!
Jeez.
You asked for it.
I didn't. Okay.
So, we need a great segue to go into our next movie. Like, wow, this podcast is bad as hell. Hellfest!
Yep. Hellfest. It's October.
It is.
Valley Scare's open.
It's Spooktober. Scooptober. Scoopity whoop. Poop diddy scoop.
Yeah, there's our Kanye line.
Scoop diddy whoop whoop.
Poop.
Poop scoop. Poop?
Okay, too far. Okay.
Yeah. It's Spooktober. So as such, all the horror movies are coming out, which includes Hellfest. Because, it's obviously not an animated DreamWorks family extravaganza with a name like that. Hellfest is
It's about Valley Scare, and there's a real murderer.
If you're not from Minnesota...
Who's listening is.
Everyone's from Minnesota. You can't just assume. Remember, we got to future-proof these episodes. Hey, you, person listening from Luxembourg.
What?
Luxembourg.
Where's that?
It's in Europe. It's a very, very tiny country that is squeezed between a bunch of other countries. It's landlocked.
So it's very unlikely, is what you're saying.
No, we have a very strong following in Luxembourg, actually. You, dude from Luxembourg, you ever been to a haunted carnival attraction?
What? It's a theme park.
A theme park? A traveling theme park? I don't know. I'm just saying words. Don't mind me.
It's a theme park where there are actors who are getting paid to dress up as spooky people and touch you. They can touch you and push you over and carry you away and stuff like that.
Only in the Deadlands.
What?
Which is a specific part of that. You didn't even pay attention to the movie. Most of the park, you're fine, but if you sign a waiver and go to the Deadlands, that's the specific place of the park where they can touch you.
Okay.
Yeah, they made a big deal about that in the movie.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see that.
It's a slasher movie.
It's like going into a haunted house, but the whole park is the haunted house.
Exactly. And I will say that is the best part about this movie, is that they make the park look like it would be a lot of fun. It is such a fantastic set, the entire time.
It does not look fun.
What do you mean? It looks awesome.
Like the worst day of my life.
If you're a normal human being who likes your spooks, then it looks like an absolute time. All sorts of different haunted mazes, carnival games all over, food, spooky decor.
Why don't you go to Valley Scare?
I'm not going to Valley Scare by myself.
Go with your friends.
I don't have friends.
Yes,
We've been over this.
Yes, you do. I'm not going with you.
Wow. Too spooked? Afraid you'll be too scared?
I don't want people fucking putting their hands on me.
They can touch you at Valley Scare?
I don't know.
Because you got to sign a waiver for places like that.
I don't know. I've never been there. I'm never going.
You're never going.
I don't want people running, even if they can't touch me, I don't want people running up in my face, okay? I don't want anybody looking at me ever.
Then why you go to Disney World where Mickey's all like, let me give you a hug?
Do you know how long you have to wait in line to see Mickey? At least 2 hours.
Yeah, that's right, until Mickey goes rogue and chases down poor civilians, trying to smother them with his giant mouse face.
Like that old creepy Mickey video.
Which
from
one?
The Vaults.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
You know, they made those creepy videos of him back in the day.
Yeah, sure.
Really?
I've seen some faked ones that were like intentionally meant to be scary, but I don't think that's what you're talking about.
I'm talking about ones that were made a long time ago, and yes, they were supposed to be scary, but they weren't like released, obviously.
Maybe I've seen it. It's been a while since I've explored that area of pop culture.
Anyway, no.
Cat!
Get out of the grocery bag!
Go on, continue talking.
I was gonna say, anyway, no, it's not like Disney World.
It is like Disney World. It's got super fun characters like Headless Ed and Loch Ness
No.
Monster Man.
No. Nobody needs to be running up to me like that.
But what if they give you a lollipop afterwards?
I'm not going.
So we've established that Tara's not going to go to Valley Scare, which means she definitely wouldn't go to Hellfest, but I will still maintain that they did an incredible job with the set and sound design and making it feel like an actual real theme park. You cannot deny that that was done very well.
Yeah, you know where else they did that well? Final Destination 3. You see it?
I have seen it, but it's been a while.
It's the best one.
That's the one where the roller coaster goes off the rails, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that one. But yeah, this is a slasher movie because there's this dude who apparently goes around to these things, dresses up as a person in...
Puts a mask on.
Yeah, he
that's
puts
it.
a mask on so that he's all like part of the show, so that people don't question him. He can get through the park however he wants, and kills people. Ooh. So, of course, the main conflict within the plot is that he's running around stalking these people, slowly killing them off one by one. They don't even realize that they're being killed off. They just think that they're losing them. But
Yeah,
they keep realizing that they're being stalked, and nobody believes them because, they're supposed to be scared.
And the killer just drops their body off in the pile of bodies or whatever that happens to be in that room of the place, and everybody thinks they're props.
Exactly, because, there's supposed to be dead bodies there. It's normal. Thank God. I'm just brought back to some of the attractions in this movie, some of the mazes and stuff, and how just phenomenally they were made. If you just like spooky decorations and stuff, this movie is worth seeing just for that alone, because they're so great.
I've seen better.
You call me a snot.
I never said I wasn't.
Oh, okay. And unfortunately, where this movie falters is in the exact premise of it. The fact that it is a slasher movie. The kills are, unfortunately, not that great. They're
very underwhelming.
Yeah. There was one that really had me cringing. And then
Which
there was,
one? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That one. And the very first kill in the movie was okay, but still kind of underwhelming. But it was neat, kind of, because they took the theme park aspect into it and added that into it, so that was nice. But otherwise, two of the characters were killed in the exact same way within 30 seconds of each other, and they were just stabbed.
Within 5 seconds.
Yeah, more like that. And it's like, are you kidding me? The only role that characters besides the main character play in these kinds of movies is to get killed off in creative and exciting ways. That's why you watch a slasher movie, because you want to see them get creative. And when you've got a setting like a theme park where you've got endless possibilities, killing off two characters by stabbing them in the stomach is just lame. Just really lame.
It felt like, oh, the movie's about to end soon, but we still have 2 more characters to get rid of.
Yeah. And, they already had one of the characters set up to have a great death, and then they just kind of backed out of it. Mm-hmm. It's like, why on earth, if the character is going to die in a minute, would you back them out of that kill?
Because, I know why.
Why?
Because she causes a commotion.
Yeah, but if your whole reason for, backing out of the kill is because you don't know how to progress the plot, rewrite the script a little bit. Write yourself a better script.
I don't know. I didn't write it.
I'm not blaming you. Jeez. I understand that that's why they did it, but they should not have done it. They should have had a much better way to reach a conclusion to the plot and make everything tie together. So that was a real bummer. I was expecting some super fun kills. Instead, I got pretty lame kills.
Except the cringy one.
Except the super cringy one, which was good.
I was thinking about one of them, and then I realized that was in the movie before this one.
Oh, yeah. And Hold the Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hold the Dark wound up being a more creatively visceral movie than Hellfest did. Go figure.
Yeah.
So both movies did not accomplish the goals that they set out to do. Except I would say Hellfest was more fun to watch than Hold the Dark was, because it wasn't trying to be so artsy the whole time. Mandy was artsy, but Mandy was also extremely fun and extremely cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hold the Dark was artsy and just bleh. Not fun and not cool. Hellfest will never be considered art.
Well, that's not what it's meant to be.
And of course they leave it wide open for a sequel so that a few years down we can all watch Hellfest 7 straight to Amazon Prime.
That reminds me when on 2.5 Men they had that future scene and it was like Saw 37 or something. It was so funny.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they finally pulled the reins on Saw. I don't know why I said unfortunately. It's not like those last movies were anything worth
You
watching.
didn't even see them!
Yes, I did. I have literally seen every Saw movie.
When did you watch those?
When I first moved down here. And I was a lonely boy.
That was a long time ago. There have been more since then.
I saw all of them up to the final chapter. If there's been another one since then oh no, I've missed one.
What do you mean?
Saw
This
3,
one?
yeah, Saw 3D, the final chapter. That's like Saw 7.
Why aren't they all coming up here?
Because
One,
the newest one
two,
is
three,
called Jigsaw.
4, 5.
The newest one is just called Jigsaw, and I haven't seen Jigsaw, but I've seen every Saw movie.
Then you lie!
No, I am technically correct. I have seen every Saw movie. Doesn't mean I've seen every spin-off.
What makes it a spin-off? It's still about him.
Yeah, but it's not called Saw, so therefore it's a spin-off. And look at that.
They were
Apparently
just
it's not that great either.
They were just getting embarrassed about how many numbers they were putting behind Saw.
You gotta own it. Just like how Hellraiser owns it. Except, fuck that shit, because Hellraiser has been beaten into the ground, which is a shame because it's such an incredible horror movie. But yes, I do know what I'm talking about. I've seen all those movies. So don't go claiming I don't know things.
For once in your life!
I know things. I've seen every Saw. Deal with it.
You have not seen that movie!
Jigsaw?
Yes.
Jigsaw doesn't matter.
It's part of the franchise.
Oh no, so I'm behind one movie that came out last year.
See, you keep saying it. I've seen every one. And then you say, oh, but that one. So you can't say you've seen them all. Look, it's even there.
You are just particularly frustrating right now, aren't you?
Yes, I'm hungry.
It's okay. We'll make it through.
It's almost 7 o'clock.
If we make it or not.
It's almost 7.
Yes, which means you gotta talk about Hellfest as fast as you can. What do you gotta say about Hellfest?
It was kind of boring.
Rave review. Right there. Spectacular movie. Would never watch it again. It's garbage.
I probably wouldn't watch it again, no, because it was, you see it once and that's it. You don't need to see it again.
Yeah, it's just a real bungled mess of a slasher. If you want to watch a good slasher, go like 50 years in the past and watch Texas Chainsaw. Now there's a good slasher.
Some people would say that movie's boring, too.
Texas Chainsaw is not boring. People who would say that is boring clearly just don't like horror movies. Or they don't like slasher horror movies. I like all horror movies, you know. They're so fun. Whether it's slasher
really?
or
Like the shitty B ones,
zombie.
too?
Yeah, shitty B movies are great. Like Halloween 6. I haven't seen that one, but I do know it's a shitty B movie. They're a good time. Unfortunately, this one was not nearly as much of a good time as it could have been. So, rip Hellfest. Burn in hell. No one will ever watch you again.
Hey, in Final Destination 3, there's a devil ride.
Wow, one devil ride.
I'm just saying, you know,
Oh,
hell,
okay, well,
devil.
you've said it.
I don't remember what it's called, though.
The Toe of Satan or something. It's like that
think
lollipop
it is.
you made me eat. The toe of Satan.
Oh, something like that. I don't know.
Because that was that horrible lollipop you bought me
know.
and I ate. God, that was bad.
I know, and it wasn't funny either. You were just miserable and sad. And I was like, well, this isn't funny.
Some people find that funny.
It wasn't, though, because you were, like, really upset about it. And so,
That's what people like watch those videos to see, though, is people getting upset about it.
like, over dramatically, though, you were, like, in a depressing way. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have bought this.
I was kind of disappointed because you recorded that whole thing and then didn't even show the world.
That's because it was exactly like what I just said. Everyone would have been like, oh,
If you want
wasn't funny.
If you want to try the toe of Satan lollipop, I just recommend you don't. So many Scoville heat units packed into that one bitch of a sucker.
You're supposed to keep it in your mouth for 5 minutes, and I think you kept it in for like 1 minute something.
Yeah, which is still more than most people do. I thought that I could make it just by leaving it in there and just like forcing my way through, but I literally had a gag reflex that like projected it out of my mouth. It was so hot that I sat there. I didn't even like touch it with my tongue. I just kept it in my mouth. It was just resting against my cheek, and all of a sudden I just went like, and it just came out of my mouth like that.
And then he drank all of the milk.
I drank seriously like close to a gallon of milk, and it didn't help. It was like every inhale felt like my throat was on fire. It felt like I was actually burning from the inside out.
Yeah, so then it was really depressing to watch. It wasn't funny.
It was a pretty brutal experience. If you like hot things, and you've been disappointed by every hot thing, would recommend, because it'll put you through hell and back. If you don't want anything to do with that, then stay far away. But that's the toe of Satan. Still makes for a better story than Hellfest. May I say that none of the background characters or like secondary characters in Hellfest were at all likable either. Like, I didn't care that anybody in this movie died. The love interest was such a limp noodle that I didn't care if he died.
Oh, you knew he was going to die at probably first.
He was such a big loser. And I say this being a loser myself. So I know what it takes.
But you're a different kind of loser.
Gee, thanks. Really
said
appreciate it. So you just go on and agree with it?
Yeah.
Brutal honesty here.
What? I called myself a loser the last episode.
I plead the fifth. Okay, I can't keep the silence going for that long. That is just poor podcasting right there.
I can keep the silence going forever.
If there were like a podcast for the deaf, you'd be the queen.
The death?
Yeah, for the
What?
deaf.
Oh, the deaf.
Yeah. New podcasts for the deaf. Narrated by Tara.
No, because then I'd have to write everything, and that's even worse.
No. You're not getting the joke, because podcasts
Yeah,
are specifically
I get the joke.
Why didn't you appreciate it for what it was? Because
no.
you're hungry?
No, I would never appreciate that.
So when you say that you're hungry... Actually, no, hold on. We have to wrap this up before I segue into the next film here. So, yeah, final thoughts on Hellfest?
You can pass this one.
Yeah, you probably can.
You'll find a better horror movie streaming somewhere than this one is.
You really will. It looked fun enough in the trailers, but it just wound up not delivering on any fronts. So, sorry, Hellfest, you're out of the game. Which leads us to our next movie. You're a headlining movie, a highly sought-after movie, years of marketing building this one up.
Wait, why were you were going to say something about being hungry? How does that lead into this movie?
The world has been hungry for a movie such as this.
Are you serious? That's what you were going to say?
No.
Okay, what were you going to say?
I don't know, I forgot.
Okay, get on with it.
So yes, easily the most highly ambitious movie and the one that everybody's wanted to see for years. This is Kevin Hart's Godfather Part 2.
Why do you have to be so mean about it?
I am praising it.
You're mocking it.
I am definitely being sincerely praiseful of this film here. This is Night School, starring Kevin Hart and girl Kevin Hart, aka Tiffany Haddish. They have very similar senses of humor. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that because it's a race thing, so, before you get all upset with me here, I'm saying it because of their humor style. They both make weird noises, and they're loud.
What else have you seen either of them in?
Well, I've seen that trailer for Nobody's Fool about 500 times in the theaters with Tiffany Haddish going, "This is nice!" She does it every trailer, and it's the loudest, most obnoxious thing ever.
She does it every trailer,
every trailer.
Recording every time.
It's like the Star is Born trailer. You're there thinking, man, this movie looks good, and then Tiffany Haddish comes in screaming at you, and then you're like, God dang it, I got Tiffany Haddish again. Dang it. You're there at the Taylor Swift concert, you're just enjoying her music, and all of a sudden, all the music stops, and Tiffany Haddish is picking up the phone, being loud at you. Except that's not a joke. That actually did happen.
Taylor can't come to the phone right now.
So, you get the explosive dynamics of Kevin Hart, world's tallest dwarf, and Tiffany Haddish together, and you get a recipe for shenanigans. And that's all this movie is. It's Shenanigans the Movie. Kevin Hart plays a incredibly stupid man who did not graduate high school and walked out during a very vital test.
He's not stupid, he's dyslexic.
He's more than dyslexic. They made that clear that he's got 4 different learning disabilities that cause him to be virtually incapable of learning.
Yeah, but dyslexia was the biggest one.
And what was the number one?
What?
He also had one that was like a dyslexia for numbers, but I can't remember the word because it was another big word.
I don't know.
And he had another learning disability on top of that, and I think one more. He just had 3 or 4 of them to basically be yeah, you can't learn anything. It goes in one ear and out the other. Now that said, he did become a very successful grill salesman who was just about to take over the family business. Not his family, someone else's, but he was about to take it over anyway because he was so good at selling grills that when he proposes to his fine-ass girlfriend, he burns the whole place down.
Mm-hmm.
Is that too spoilery? Spoilers.
No.
Spoilers, the whole movie plot has to kick off.
Well, if you've seen the trailer, you know that that's not going to last.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, there goes his future. And he's promised a job by one of his good friends to be a financial analyst, but he needs a GED. And so goes in the whole premise of this movie, where he must go to night school to obtain his GED. And the school he goes to, the principal just so happens to be one of his worst enemies from high school. Fantastic, right? That'll make things easier.
Mm-hmm.
And his teacher is Tiffany Haddish, so, that makes things even harder right there. Wouldn't you say so?
No. She was nice.
She was not nice to him. She beat him up.
She was a good teacher.
With classmates such as the mute native woman from Arrested Development.
What?
Yeah. Remember when George Bluth was in Mexico for a while and he had all of his people down there?
No.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, oh yeah. That's why I said yeah, and you said no. Big oof.
Nope, don't remember that.
Well,
No.
There goes that one. But yeah, nice little cast of background characters. Nobody of a particularly huge name, but fun enough people, I suppose. I don't know, the movie just kind of goes around giving you humor as you would expect in the Kevin Hart fashion, mostly revolving around the fact that he is short and, again, loud.
But we both didn't even want to see this movie. We were trying to find a different one to see, and we couldn't, so we saw this one anyway, and we both thought it was going to be really stupid. Stupid but not funny in that way. But we both were laughing pretty much through the whole thing.
There were some pretty good laughs here and there, yeah.
I thought it was really funny.
There were a few things that I think may have amplified how funny they were, being in the audience laughing. Like, there's something about other people laughing that makes it funnier, but then, like, afterwards I think about it, I'm like, that joke wasn't that funny, though. That happens sometimes. You know, it's like
you say you don't like watching shows with laugh tracks because you don't like hearing them, and now you're saying they help you laugh?
There is a huge difference between a literal live audience next to you and a pre-patched in laugh track, and you know it.
Well, I laughed at parts because they're funny. I don't laugh because other people laugh.
What can I say? I feed off the energy of the room. If people are having a good time, I'm generally having a good time.
You know, that's exactly what I just told you the other day when you tried to tell me you were an introvert, and I told you, no, you're not. Because you literally get your energy from other people around you. And you just confirmed that.
That is merely one definition of introvert.
It's the biggest one.
Of extrovert. Yeah, but I have problems with people sometimes, okay? I have some major issues sometimes dealing with people that I don't know.
You might have issues, yeah, but deep down, inside, you're an extrovert.
Deep down, I'm an extrovert, even though I frequently have times where I don't want to see anybody and I would rather crawl into a hole and be forgotten by the world and ignored. But, you know, I'm an extrovert. Yeah, that's what that means.
Yeah, you are.
I do not feel like one, I can tell you that much. Like, half the time, friends ask me if I want to do something. A lot of times I'm just like, straight up no. And I just don't.
You can't be living your life like I do.
Hey, you know, I married you. A few of your quirks are going to bleed into me. It's been happening.
Right. So your social anxieties are my quirks that you've acquired? Thanks.
Ta-da! Man, how did we get to that from night school?
This is our most depressing episode.
If you want someone to just be, like, down in the dumps for a while, tell them to watch the B Critics. You'll say, I got this great podcast that you'll love. They'll listen to this episode and they'll be like, fuck you, man, that was horrible. Why did you make me listen to that? These people need help immediately.
I could use some help, yeah.
Some chicken tender help?
You need help. You need professional help. That's on White Chicks.
I'm sure it was. Kevin Hart was not in White Chicks.
No, but that movie was funny too.
And stupid.
Yeah.
We haven't said much about night school. I mean, what do you really have to say? He goes to school. It's nighttime. He tries to learn and he can't.
Yeah. If you want to go to a fun movie that's stupid but funny, like a lot of movies are, just want to have a good time, go see it.
It's not like super bad funny. It doesn't reach those heights of triumphant dick joke. But it's also PG-13, so, you know, they don't go too hard. Hard dicks. That's a funny combination of words.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yes, I have seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
With me?
I don't remember if with you. I know I saw Knocked Up with you, but I don't remember. I think I may have seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin by myself.
Oh. Watched it by yourself.
Yeah, like the 40-year-old virgin I am. Man, you are... Somehow the chemistry between us tonight, it's just intense. It's a very radiant, like, you can tell we're just on the same wavelength. There's something about our interest in these movies.
I'm just not having it tonight.
Well, we could have recorded last night, but you went out shopping with your mom until 9:30.
I got so many new clothes. I'm so excited.
And it doesn't help that this is just a really mediocre week, too.
Yeah.
Hellfest was mediocre. Hold the Dark was mediocre. And Night School, again, it's not going to win any Oscars or anything. And it's not going to go down in the annals of history as being one of the great raunchy comedies of our time. Because it's not raunchy enough to be truly raunchy. And it's... I don't know. It's in a weird little void with itself.
Yeah, but I went in expecting nothing, so I had a good time.
It's still better than your average Tyler Perry movie, so I gotta bring him up every time, 'cause
Have you even seen any?
I have. And it was a unfortunate time in my life.
Which one have you seen?
One of the Medea movies. I don't even know which one. It doesn't really matter which one. They're all the same. I've heard somebody say that Tyler Perry is Black Adam Sandler, and vice versa.
I thought he wasn't in the movies.
Yeah, he plays Medea.
Oh.
He makes, writes, and stars in his own movies.
Oh, okay.
That are specifically designed as cheap laughs for his target demographic, just like Adam Sandler. Writes, makes, and stars in his own movies that are cheap laughs for his own target demographic. They are the same.
Wow.
They should team up to make one super garbage movie.
Except Adam Sandler has a lot of funny movies.
From back in the day, maybe.
Yeah.
And even then, I think people's goggles are slightly rose-tinted as a result of that.
No, mine aren't. I didn't see those until I was older.
How much older?
And I love Chuck and Larry.
How much older?
For what?
At what age did you see those Adam Sandler movies?
I don't know. I didn't just sit down and watch them all one year.
Sounds like you're trying to dodge the question.
I didn't watch them when they came out, that's for sure.
Yeah, neither did I. But
First of all, I was 6.
But you can still have nostalgia for things that happened 10 years ago.
But I don't like his I don't like his oldest movies, Billy Madison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that movie. It's stupid. But I love The Wedding Singer. That's one of my favorite movies. I love it. It's so funny.
Wow. Well, that's a hell of a lot better than The Wedding Planner, that's for sure.
Stop dissing J-Lo!
J-Lo will be dissed on a weekly basis.
No!
I'm going to take this opportunity right now to say that she was nominated for a Razzie in that role, so you can't tell me.
I don't care.
Oh.
That's a classic in my house.
Yeah, and Lost in Space is a classic in mine, but I'm not going to tell anyone it's good.
I've never seen that.
I have specifically put off rewatching Lost in Space all these years because I don't want to taint the memory that I have in my mind for it. I loved it so much as a kid.
See, you just contradicted what you said earlier.
I didn't contradict it. I'm simply guilty of it. It doesn't contradict it. It just means that I, too, am just as bad with it as anybody else is. And I will freely admit that if it makes you feel better.
Okay.
Okay. But nothing in my child mind would ever say that Matt LeBlanc shooting robot spiders was lame. That was the best thing ever.
Have you ever seen Little Nicky?
I have seen Little Nicky a long, long time ago. Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot.
So stupid.
I remember the talking dog. I remember the guys with tit heads.
I don't remember anything except his voice.
Wow, so I can recall more about that movie than you did.
Yeah, I only saw it once.
Yeah, I did too, when I was 8.
Yeah, and again, you've seen 100 movies, okay? I've seen thousands.
I've seen 100 movies, and they're always the ones that you pull out to reference. I knew I'd get that kind of look from you. She was not thrilled about that sentence I spat out at her.
Spat out.
Yeah. So, night school.
Night school.
Night school. School at night. Christian chicken.
I thought it was funny.
Well, I'm glad that you found it to be to your liking. I personally think that there was room for improvement. But I always think that there's room for improvement.
But it's like, what else? What else do you want? This is exactly the kind of movie that it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. You just have better movies. I'm sorry. My standards get higher and higher when we see so many movies in a week. And I'm forced to see the good and the bad.
Whatever. Your standards have always been this way.
Well, thank you for saying I've always had high standards. That's very kind
I'm
of you.
saying you're a snot.
You're saying that I am a man of culture and refinement.
I'm saying you're a snob.
Yeah. You're secretly saying, why, yes, you are a very intelligent man who knows of the finer things in life.
I don't talk like that.
But on the inside, that's what you were saying.
No, I don't talk like that on the inside either.
On the inside, you said, I need some chicken tenders in me.
Yeah, that's right.
Right now.
That's what I said.
And maybe so many corn dogs.
Yeah!
Now we're getting on track. So, maybe we should apologize for this episode being such a downer. Maybe we should say, oh, sorry that we didn't hit the standards of the past couple episodes. But you know what? I'm not going to apologize. Because you're in my house.
How long did you set that up?
It just came to mind right there. Like, literally as I was mid-sentence, I decided to say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, we shouldn't do episodes before dinner.
Because I
can't take it.
You're just gonna be like on the verge of offing yourself. You're like, I haven't eaten in 3 hours. No.
Hey, I think actually, yeah. I think that's about right. I think I had a snack at 4 o'clock.
So, this was your experiment for the week, your special pre-dinner episode. If you liked this pre-dinner episode full of existential doubt and hopeless anxiety, leave a like, leave a comment, tell all your friends about this garbage show. And we'll be at you next week. Next week is a week that I've been looking forward to. I've been looking forward to next week for a long time because I can finally go a movie without seeing the fucking A Star Is Born trailer. So, boom! Finally, it's here. I don't have to sit through the same trailer. Maybe it's time to let the old ways die. Maybe it's time to let the old ways die. Finally, it's... Takes a lot to try. The end of an era. The Star Is Born trailers are finished. Literally, the entire time we've done this podcast, we have seen that trailer before probably every single movie on this list.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
because I remember
ridiculous.
I remember looking, because I still want to see it. I'm still excited to see it. And I remember being like, oh, when's it coming out? So I looked, and I remember thinking that it was 3 months. And so we started this in July, August,
Yeah.
September, October.
About, yeah. Pretty close. So yeah, next week, A Star Is Born, and next week's episode is going to blow by like a turd in the wind. Oh yeah, because we're also seeing that shitty-ass Venom movie with Tom Hardy. I haven't even seen it yet, but I'm just passing judgment already that it's going to be bad.
Yeah, it's not going to be like this week where I went in thinking it was going to be bad and it was good. It's going to be bad.
It's just straight up going to be terrible. Nobody has any faith in this movie. But at least we're seeing it in 3D, so that'll make it mildly more interesting.
Yeah, our first 3D movie.
Ooh, you can see Venom's tentacles kill a guy off screen in 3D.
Ooh.
Yeah, PG-13. Ooh. Anyway.
I want to see a rated R 3D movie.
Yeah, they don't make a whole lot of those, don't they?
I don't know. I never pay attention to what's in 3D because I don't like seeing 3D.
But here we are, gonna make a bad movie even worse.
Yeah, why not?
So that's what we've got in store for you next week, and that is pretty much locked in. I don't think that's gonna change, so don't worry, there won't be any swerves.
It's not. We already have our spots reserved.
Yep, so boom, we can't possibly change that on you. That is for sure what we are seeing. Enjoy. almost as much as you've undoubtedly enjoyed this phenomenal episode of the B Critics. Truly a landmark for podcast episodes for the foreseeable future. Every other podcast is going to look at this episode and say, this is what I aspire to be. So with that...
See, this is why this is our name, okay?
The B
I came up with the perfect name.
Yeah, because you knew we would never hit the level of quality to be the A critics.
Yeah.
We would be at most a solid B. But you know what?
We're not even that.
People like B honor roll students more than A honor roll students. A honor roll students are snobs.
Hey, I was on the A honor roll.
Oh, and you're a snob. Look at that.
You're a snob.
So as always, thank you for listening to this incessant bickering. And you have yourself a fantastic rest of your evening.